Haven.
Yeah, and just to throw it out there for our viewers in terms of the maps that we're going to have, this is a 3-game series, best of 3 series. So map 1 here, we are on Haven with both of these plugs on attack and Juicy on defense. Our second map is going to be Ascent, and finally our third, if it goes the distance, will be Icebox. Here, though, in map number 1, I think it is worth highlighting that both of these plugs, they went straight to the semifinals. They were able to secure a bye in the play-in stage thanks to their record. On the other hand, Juicy has had to fight their way here, so definitely a lot more demo, a lot more tape available to see what sort of strats Juicy's been running with, cooking up for themselves. So I hope they've made some adaptations since then. I mean, we saw them play Icebox yesterday. Definitely a lot that you can gather from their plays that they were making over there. Players you can look out for too, like Juicy Sushi around that A site. As looking at these picks here, about to be locked in the final seconds, it's looking like fairly standard comps all around. Good mix of control and duelists. Anything really standing out to you here?
Not too much. We've got Reyna on both teams, and then Jet, Phoenix for that engage, that dueling potential, like you said, and then pretty much mirrored. We've got Omen versus Omen, Sova versus Sova, and then Cypher versus Killjoy. I would have to say, especially on the defending side, I do like Cypher a little bit more, especially in a player that knows how to use him really well and use that vision control. It can be extremely useful. Team Juicy is going to have a lot of knowledge around this map, and when you've got 3 sites to defend rather than just 2, that can make a huge difference, as they can leave a camera, say, on a site that they don't really want to put too much effort into or put too much resources into defending, and they can see them going onto that site. They can make the rotations quick, so I think that's going to be very, very helpful for them.
And I like that both teams are also picking the Omen here. This is a agent that we were highlighting earlier in the tournament being so valuable on this map because there is so much lateral movement from the 3 sites. It's really great to have that teleport available in your back pocket, can really cover a lot of ground, and is just extremely valuable when you have these longer distances. As Bikes getting really aggressive out middle here into the courtyard, jumping up into the window, but Wailing Biscuit is there waiting for him and gets the easy pickup. Some serious aggression coming out of Juicy in the early parts of this round.
Yep, and that's going to be hard to come back from, as it looks like the attackers are playing this a little bit slowly, but defending 3 sites with only 4 players is a hard task to accomplish. And they've got 2 on A, 2 on C. It looks like they're kind of leaving B on its own, but we can see... Ooh, Wailing Biscuit getting tagged down pretty hard there by Wardell on the back of C, as that Omen smoke comes in to cover their escape a little bit. Looks like we may see them rotate over to A, and unfortunately, no members of Team Juicy are there right now. Will they be able to get the site for free, or will Jekblov get there in time to cover? He does, and immediately pops Corella, evening this up, but he's left alone on the site now. Manages to drop Bugs, staying safe. Not quite safe enough. Sophia Nobueno taking him out to the back of the head.
Last player standing.
Justin dropping Sophia pretty low.
30
But
seconds
Street
left.
Potato takes down Juicy,
Spike planted.
and now Wardell is all alone in a
Last player
2v1.
standing.
Sophia's down. Sova versus Jet here, and unfortunately, Wailing Biscuit does manage to get that kill on the defuse. First round will go to both of these plugs.
Yeah, and really that one goes down to the wire. It comes to the 1v1. Wailing Biscuit tagged down to, I believe it was 25 health from earlier fights across the map. So super close opener here in round number 1, but just barely goes the way of the attackers. Just a note for our viewers that maybe aren't as familiar with Haven at the highest competitive levels, this map is considered quite attacker favored. The 3 sites means that the attackers have a lot of options in terms of maneuvering around the map, getting a spike plant down, and then the defenders, the onus is on them to play these post plants so well, because you can't invest very many players into defending each site, right? You're spread so thin, so those retake situations are so important. But Justin getting aggressive in the mid window here with the shorty. No one peeking him just yet as Jekblov gets taken out. Maybe going to open an opportunity, and Justin, yes, picks up that early kill with the shorty, recovers an SMG for the troubles. Just now backing out of that mid window, content to get a pick and leave, but Not quite, as the kills are still coming through, and that is the mop-up by the attackers. It was a nice little attempt. I like the aggression that Juicy keeps putting into this middle area, into that courtyard and window. Gets a cheeky little pickup there with the shorty, but really not getting much more than that. About what we'd expect from the anti-eco round, and now the attackers, both of these plugs, have a bit of a bonus here. You can see they've mostly got SMGs and a scout, and on the other side, it is the full rifles. Maybe this Marshall can get something done, but I don't remain too hopeful.
No, I think they're just gonna see what they can get, maybe take a couple picks and roll with the money they've made. And Justin immediately spraying down that mid, trying to get some wall bangs onto Corella there, but not going to be able to make anything connect. Yeah, the aggression from the defenders on this map, especially in an eco situation, can really be the way to go, because when they're so spread out, you need to stop the attackers' momentum before they all just roll onto a site as 5, because most of the time you're only going to have maybe 1 or 2 members on each site at any given time, so they will get rolled over pretty quickly if the attackers decide to 5-stack, unless you can put some pressure on them early in the round. And as I say that, the attackers do seem to know that they're outgunned, and they're playing this pretty safely. As Jekblov creeps up into window there, just trying to get some vision on A site and making sure that he knows where they are. And that might be key as they're all starting to creep into those corridors and make their way towards A. Will he be able to stop this advance, or will they be able to walk on relatively unopposed?
Blocking sight.
Comes the execute, the smoke comes out, Bikes there with the flash on the ready. Corella has already got the plant. The tripwire is spotting people, and Bikes goes for the trades. He gets one, Jekblov as well, but Bugs trades out one of them. He's Corella now looking to get under heaven, under this window, looking for some plays, picks up one on Juicy Sushi, peeks into Justin, but isn't able to win the gunfight. The weaponry reigns supreme, the AR versus sub, it's just not possible. The electric arrows going through the smoke, but not getting much more done as Jekblov cleans it up. A nice little triple in the round, a nice headshot there to finish it off. Has got his ultimate available now, so he hands off the defuse to not Wardell, stacking that up himself. A clean round out of the defense. You love to see that, making sure that there is no bonus for the attackers here, and getting themselves on the board is Juicy.
Very, very nice by Juicy. You like to shut down that bonus round, but it is still going to be a little rough for them. We can see Bikes and Juicy Sushi are still just stuck with maybe an SMG, unless they can get a buy from their teammates. The credit situation is looking rough, and the attackers are on a full buy. They've even got an operator, so this should be not quite an even round, but the closest thing we've had since Pistol, as it looks like they're all stacking towards that C site, and Wardell is all alone to try and hold it. And now they know that Wardell is all alone. This might be tricky. Gonna go for a nice quick execute here as the Sova drone flies in, sees that the site is pretty undefended. And yeah, all 4 members out of 5 rushing in there. Sova, Sophia Nobueno on the Sova coming in last and getting that spike down. Gonna have to be a pretty clean retake here from the side of Team Juicy. 4v4, but Wailing Biscuit is a monster with that sniper rifle and takes out Justin. How are they going to play this? All stacked up in one spot. Pretty big flashbang, but not going to get much done as Bugs and Sophia just mow them down. You hate to be stacked up like that, but it didn't look like they had too much of an option as all their other routes were covered. Just unfortunate.
Yeah, and it just goes to highlight how powerful this map is for the attackers, right? The defenders there, they're trying to make the post plant happen. They're trying to come through these tiny little choke points, and it's just all crossfires from the attacking side. The bait and switches are on point, making sure that it is a nice and clean round, but it's just so hard to defend the site, or sorry, retake the site in that situation. It also means that I think Juicy needs to be a little bit more conservative with their utility here. We're seeing a lot of early smokes and grenades come out on their side, but Jekblov and Juicy Sushi opening up for 3 early kills. Justin also picking up 1. All of a sudden, in the blink of an eye, it's a 4 versus 1. Wailing Biscuit does have this operator, so definitely has some weaponry, but with the spike near his spawn, this is just an impossibly difficult round for him. The sniper also also not very good at mopping up the pistols, not really capable of getting those multi-kills. So I wonder if we're going to see a minute-long game of cat and mouse. This Jet hoping to save that operator, hoping to avoid dying with it and handing it over to the defenders, because that's a huge economic win for them. On the other side, though, Juicy definitely going to be happy with this round. A small investment in the pistols for a round win and full rifles picked up. That is a huge win.
It really is. And that's what we were talking about earlier with that early aggression from the defenders, especially on an eco round. You have to catch the attackers off guard, shake up their momentum, and come at them when they're not expecting you to. And that's exactly what they did. They pushed right up and just got in their faces, taking down 4 members of both of these plugs. And that's going to be huge for them. They've got 4 rifles on the board now, and they will have enough next round to pick one up for bikes as well if they want to. That is exactly what the defenders needed to stay in this game. And Whaling Biscuit, it looks like, is going to be safe, as nobody's really bothering to push. And I mean, why would you? It's not worth it. They save 1 operator that they would have been able to pick up again next round anyway. And the defenders not wanting to risk their lives and their newly found rifles just to take it out. I think that's the right call.
Yeah, some great shots there on the opening of the round from Jack Blob, Juicy Sushi, and Justin. Really just cleaning house there. I really like what they're doing in their aggression too, in that it's very planned and calculated. You know, they're all hitting the same area of the map. They're coming out of the A part, the A defensive tunnels in a very aggressive manner, but they're doing it in a way where they are peeking from multiple angles and sort of setting up natural crossfires or natural spread of threats all around. You saw people coming through the middle window and through those mid doors, but also you had Jack Blov creeping out of 8 tunnels there, looking to get something started. But forget what I'm talking about, because Whaling Biscuit has secured the first blood onto Justin in this round. I wonder how the attackers proceed from here on, maybe looking to catch out any more aggression that the defenders have constantly been throwing at them.
Yeah, and the retake situation without that Omen is going to be very difficult. All they have really now is a bit of vision and a lot of damage, but they are missing out on a lot of utility in those retake scenarios if the attackers decide to jump to a site. That's a big loss early in the round. And that turret does go down from Corella, not able to do too much there in that defensive position, but they're slowly creeping towards A site. Jack Blob may be able to spot them out with that tripwire, and he knows they're there. Trying to push, does spot out Whaling Biscuit with the spike, and they're going to run away. They know they've been spotted. They're going to try to rotate. How will the defenders respond? They're going to run it all the way around over to C. It's looking like they just might. In fact, they are. And that will leave not Wardell all alone on that site to do it, although Juicy Sushi is right there, able to come over and help. That Killjoy suppression, if it goes off, going to be huge. Juicy Sushi managing to drop Whaling Biscuit before getting taken out by Corella, but Wardell trades Corella out. Bikes takes out Bugs as well, and now it is just Sofia No Bueno and Extreme Potato. Scratch that, sorry, it's just Extreme Potato teleporting over to A site with that spike, managing to get it planted and get some money, as well as removing that trapwire, so they don't exactly know where he is, but he didn't notice Wardell still had that camera up, so they do. And he's going to get collapsed on and go down. That was what I was talking about with that Cypher camera. You can't underestimate the ability to keep vision on one site while the rest of the team is everywhere else. It just makes it so much easier to catch those rotations out. He knew exactly where Extreme Potato was going to be, where he was, what his game plan was, and they could respond to it immediately without having to go into the site blind, and you can't discount that at all.
Definitely not. Really, I like the little attempt there from Extreme Potato, you know, teleport across the map, get a spike plant down, you know, try to get something rolling, but definitely not a very viable situation in terms of winning the post plant. The 3 versus 1, having the camera there from Jack Blob 2, as you've highlighted, so a really tough situation for him to be in, trying to get something done. And speaking of trying to get something done is the attackers. You know, both of these plugs have cobbled together a lackluster buy, to say the least. Some SMG, some pistols, and Juicy Sushi is rattling off operator shots, but he's getting overwhelmed. Wailing Biscuit getting the kill. His team collapsing from middle as well. They've got these frenzies. They've got some basic rifles. They've got an operator and SMGs. They can maybe get this round win as the spike goes down at A. There's a gunfight middle. Justin so tagged up, but still looking for the fight. The JetBlog is here to support. Comes in, but Wailing Biscuit trading out on the other side. Corella with a nice little jiggle on the SMG. Justin looking to get something done, but it's just not possible. Corella with the two-piece on an SMG. The attackers are responding with the aggression of their own, using that force buy there to get a round win.
Man, I don't think we've seen a consistent rifle versus rifle round from both teams yet. It's all been one team ecoing, and most of the time when these teams are on eco rounds, they're actually taking them. So this is quite a match we've got going on.
Yeah, and I definitely like the switch up from both teams, right? We've seen so many full saves, so many full ecos in rounds, and as a result, they play out so linearly, right? A team has the SMGs, they mop up the other, it's just effortless, etc., etc. But instead, now we have these small variations, a sheriff here or there, some ghosts, maybe even a shorty pushed into the middle window for the defenders, and it's spicing this game up in a big way, giving it a lot of volatility. And I think that that's an opportunity for Juicy to shine with those high-rated players on their squad, get the guns rolling, put them in chaotic situations, and they'll come out on top.
Yeah, although it is pretty dead even so far, so we will have to see if that ends up holding true as all 5 members of both of these plugs just creep onto that A site. But again, JetBlog knows. You can see them all rolling in, and will he be able to stop it? No, it looks like he's just going to fall back and wait for more of his team. Well, that fire is going to do a lot of damage. Not Wardell spamming those Sova arrows onto the site, trying to get something done. Not going to be able to hit too much, unfortunately. Here we see the defenders coming in. Bugs and Bikes trading each other out. JetBlog taking down Extreme Potato. Sofia No Bueno trading him back out as well. 2v3 for the attackers now as Wardell and Bikes sit on the site, try to get a safe defuse off, but they're running out of time, and Corella is creeping up with that Odin. Just gonna spray down that spike and try to hold this off. 18 HP makes it pretty hard, but those Sova arrows from Sofia definitely help. And I don't think Bikes is gonna have any time. And in fact, I think the spike might take him out. Yes, it will. Unfortunate for Bikes there. Just waited a little bit too long on that site. A little bit of an overcommit, but very good for the attackers to be able to make that happen.
Yeah, great stuff out of them, getting a bomb pop round win there, the spike going off. So pretty happy about that one, no doubt. Some nice little lineups there at the end, using the Sova ult to great effect, making sure that there is just no possible defuse attempts at a Bikes. And now I like this transition. JetBlog now going over to the C site instead. He's typically been making A his home, but now instead setting up these cameras around C, setting up these tripwires around C, which is a nice little adaptation, but it's immediately spotted out by the attackers here, and they've got the info, and they've got the headshot onto JetBlog. Bugs cleaning house there, and now with 4 defenders, they're looking for the immediate fast rotate, but the attackers are one step ahead, instead opting to go towards the middle of the map here, looking to peek through these moves and maybe transition into the courtyard, but it looks like instead A is going to be on the cards as they slowly creep their way over, but not committing to anything just at this point.
No, they're not. They've got a lot of powerful weapons as well. They've got that operator. They've got the Odin on Corella. And if they do end up in a 1v1 situation, if Juicy gets caught out here with that Odin, I don't think he's going to be able to do much. And no, he is not. Corella just immediately nails him with the Odin as they fly back over to the C site. All 5 members. Justin going down as well to Bugs. And that Killjoy ultimate coming down is going to shut down a lot of their aggression from these last 2 players. It looks like we might just see a save, in fact, from Wardell and Bikes, as they don't want to lose those rifles. Their economy is not looking great right now. Anything they could hold on to would be good for this round. Looks like they may just be waiting to pick up some exit frags as the attackers leave the site. We do see... Oh no, never mind. They're going for some aggression. Corella with a wallbang onto Wardell, gonna pick him up, and will we see Bikes just go for the exits? Yep, he's backing off. He's running over towards that B, towards middle. Just gonna try to save. Maybe pick something up on the way out, but I don't think he's going to be able to. No, he's just gonna sit there, save his Phantom, try to make something happen next round. Oh, never mind. He manages to drop Corella right at the end of the round after the timer. That's a pretty big dent, but not going to be able to do too much as Corella has still got 9,000 credits to his name as we go into a timeout.
Yeah, and this was called by Juicy here, and I think it's definitely worth doing. Some miscommunication, it seems like there in that last round. They started out wanting to save, and then they're both peeking out of the back B side. They're looking to make something happen there, but overall, it was so disjointed. I liked the little cheeky pickup at the end there, but really it doesn't result in too much overall. So I think it's good to call this timeout here. Chat as a team, say, we've got to get on the same page and maybe come together with a bit more of a game plan. We saw when they're working together, playing aggressively, playing as a full 5-man unit, that they can really make some magic happen. Winning some eco rounds with the pistols on the defensive side of Haven is no joke. But these last couple have just been very disjointed, very confusing, and as a result, they're just sort of getting run over in these rounds.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate. That is kind of the nature of defense on this map, though. It's very, very hard. As you said at the start of the game, you have to be very cohesive as a team to make this map work on defense. And unfortunately, I think the failing point in that round, or at least what started it going downhill for them, was that pick on Jekblov right at the start. I think he was just a little bit too slow with his setup on the C site. He was still getting into position as the attackers were coming in. And unfortunately, he wasn't able to get himself to a safe enough spot to not get picked off. But the defenders are rolling. They've got 3 on A site as all 5 members of both of these plugs roll up nice and slowly. Going to try to work their way in there. Bike's getting smoked off in heaven, but they do know he's there. He does get some damage down. Spike will go down from Sofia No Bueno, as they're all going to fall back to those retake positions now. Juicy Sushi may get caught out here by that operator from the side of both of these plugs. Marshall versus an operator. Will he be able to make this work on Wailing Biscuit? No, but Wardell will with a crisp headshot. Bikes grabbing that Phantom from the body. Or excuse me, his Phantom from last round. He's able to roll up. Justin and Juicy going nuts, and Sophia is left alone with 4 HP to try to make something happen. But of course, he's not going to be able to. Bike sitting up in heaven just takes him right out. And that was another eco round win in this game. I think that's our 3rd or 4th one so far.
Yeah, they did have the HAP investment for a couple pieces here and there, but really impressive to win the 5 versus 5 retake in such a fashion. Great stuff there at a Juicy. Clearly, the timeout paid off because they came in swinging on that round. There was the fast flank from Juicy Sushi, putting that pressure from the attacker's side. So great stuff there out of them, and I just want to see them continue that momentum, right? It's not like we haven't seen round wins from them. It's not like we don't know that they can do it. It's just about maintaining it. So now they've got 4 rifles. They've got an operator. They're matching their attacker counterpart perfectly. So what can they do to make this happen? What can they do to get the round win?
I think they need to keep playing together. I mean, we've seen them in that last round. We had some beautiful crossfires, whether it was between that A-Long and Heaven to catch out Wailing Biscuit with the operator and make sure that he couldn't take either player out, or just throughout this round when they're working together and setting up those crossfires to pick players out. It's great, but Bikes catching Corella completely off guard and manages a nice little pick to give the defenders a bit of an advantage this round. Justin does have that ultimate, so he is ready to rotate, and we can see him sitting on C trying to hold it down, but if they are popping up on another site, he can be there in an instant. And now Bike's getting very aggressive, sitting basically right in the middle of those attacking players, and they don't seem to know. Will he be able to get a nice little flank here behind them? We can see him walking up on the map as Jekblov and Wailing Biscuit are trading a little bit of back and forth. Wailing is pretty low, but manages to grab Juicy Sushi. Misses that second shot and gets dropped. Bugs and Justin going crazy with the Phantom, taking down 2 players right there to clear that site out. And it's all on Extreme Potato. He's got a Vandal, doesn't have much else. Manages to take Justin out, but gets dropped in return by Bikes. And the defenders are evening this match up slowly but surely.
Yeah, so now on the last round of the half, they would be incredibly happy, I think, to end it at 6-6. We know that Haven is typically an attacker-favored map, so ending with an even scoreline on the defense would certainly be a great place to be. I love that aggressive play out of Bikes there on the A side. Just such a excellent lurk there, picks up that first kill by being in a cheeky off angle onto Corella, and then uses the flashbang and wall to reposition aggressively. I love that play there out of Bikes, and I hope to see more out of him. This is a player that can be an absolute superstar for his squad, but in this round he is not, as Bugs is taking out Bikes. Not Wardell did pick up a kill onto Wailing Biscuit there, and that's the Jet with ultimate, so that is definitely a big loss on their side in this last round. Not like you're going to have that ultimate moving forward. So now Juicy Sushi posted up in this top A window with the operator, looking for the aggression out of both of these plugs, but not coming at this point. They're just slowly creeping out of A, just walking the whole way through, being careful if there's any other aggressive peaks coming out of the side of Juicy here.
I don't think there will be. I think now that it's evened up, they're just going to want to hold the site, especially with Wardell. He's got his signature Odin that is so powerful, as we saw earlier in the round, for just holding angles down as hard as possible. We've got Juicy Sushi with the operator holding Heaven on A in case they go there. But it's looking like they may be heading over to C. And Justin is there all alone right now.
30 seconds left.
As Extreme Potato hops over to join his team, and they all push onto that C site. Very smart of Justin to fall back, getting some damage down through that smoke, but not going to be able to get too much done as the spike goes down. And we can see all four members of Juicy are rolling in, but Bugs with the wallbang headshot onto Jack Blob. Corella dropping Justin as well. Juicy and Wardell are going to have to work hard here. Juicy just missing that wallbang onto Bugs, as they're falling back to more defensive positions to try and stop this retake. Bugs getting suppressed and dropped by Extreme Potato in an unfortunate position, and Wardell manages to steal Corella's life away, but with 5 HP, he was fodder for Extreme Potato. 5-7, still a pretty good scoreline though, moving into this attacker-sided second half.
Yeah, definitely. I think if you are Juicy, you're going to be happy with that half. Would have loved to get the even 6-6, you know, just run wild on the defense there, but still ending at 5-7 is not so bad at all. And now we've seen so many aggressive plays out of them on that defensive side, right? We saw them running into the middle window there, getting aggressive out of the A-long area. So I'm really curious to see what tricks they have up their sleeve on this attacking side, you know? They were looking at their best when they were playing aggressive, playing as a unit, and just running around the map, getting things done. Something that I think is going to be more favored on this offensive side. So I'm eager to see what they've got for us.
For sure. And unfortunately, that Cypher is not going to be quite as useful unless he manages to just obliterate Wailing Biscuit right off the bat. He indeed, that Cypher, most of his abilities require him to be in a defending situation. Extreme Potato is in a risky spot here as Juicy Sushi pulls up on him, and he does go down. Just unfortunate timing for him there, as he was prepping an ability right as he got spotted out. And immediately, we go for the first B site take of the game. Now, this can be a site that's hard to hold, but with the amount of utility they've got, they have a pretty good shot at it. And Bike's getting caught in the crossfire as Juicy picks up his third of the round, and Justin cleans up Corella for a flawless pistol round from Team Juicy. Very, very nicely played.
And that is exactly what I'm talking about. The calculated aggression coming out of Juicy. They are a pack of wolves hunting you down on the map, and they just execute so perfectly onto B there. The literal flawless round. You love to see it out of them, and now they have these SMGs, but even with them, it looks like some players aren't going to invest a penny. Jack Blob here opting to just hold onto that frenzy he picked up in the pistol round, upgraded it from his classic, so has a nice little machine pistol going into this one here. Still have those 3 SMGs to try and clean up the eco here on the side of both of these plugs. But Jack Blob, taken down to 18. That shorty almost takes him down. Cheeky little spot there from Wailing Biscuit. I like the attempt, but just not quite enough damage. As now it looks like the C execute is coming in. Juicy Sushi picking up the opener onto Krella here. And now the site is all but done and dusted. The spike is here. They've gotten it basically uncontested. Number 6 is still rotating through. Extreme Potato does manage to pick up that kill on Jekblov, who's extremely low earlier, but Jekblov doesn't have a gun. Not even an SMG for him to steal away, so a fairly inconsequential kill, all things considered. I'm going to need to see at least 2 more from the defenders before I start getting hyped up, and with Extreme Potato being so weak, it's not looking very likely. Now they're going into long, gets a couple shots down, but Justin just cleaning house with this SMG. 2 to start, 3 now, just nibbling on the elbow of Extreme Potato there at the end. Cheeky little triple on the defense, and another round secured for Juicy.
That was really interesting at the end. They actually all fell out into C long instead of trying to hold the site, because they know that that calculated aggression we've seen from them, as you called it, has been so effective this whole game, and they just wanted to use it. They didn't even want to bother trying to hold angles against that defending team. They just fell back to long and pushed it again and took them out. That's a bit of a flex and a bit of a strategy, and I like it a lot.
Definitely, and now we are seeing the first gun round out of the defenders. It is a bit of a bonus for the attackers in Juicy. You can see they have 3 SMGs and 2 ARs. Meanwhile, the defenders having the full 5 rifles. Bugs, curiously, not having full armor here, opting for half, which is a bit surprising to me, especially considering the SMGs, but to each their own. Maybe he is going to prove me wrong and just go buck wild in this round. But you can see the defenders here have 2 at B, and for a good reason, as the execute is looking like it might come through, although this is also a spot where the attackers can back out if they need to, but they don't want to. Bugs getting the opener there. Justin trying to get into the site, but Wailing Biscuit lighting him up with Extreme Potato on the closer. Now, a 5 versus 3, and the attackers are not even into the B site. This is a horrendous situation for them. At least the spike gets out with Jekblov running far away, but this is definitely not a situation that you want to be in. Not Wardell does manage to pick up a cheeky little kill on Extreme Potato there, so at least they've evened up the odds slightly, but with Jekblov on 1 health practically, and the defenders having so much map control, I think they're in a good spot to win this round. But as I say,
I have to agree. Sneaking up that C site, but they do get spotted out by Corella. Corella just going to fall back, not going to want to risk getting sprayed down by Juicy Sushi. Going to drop that grenade to keep them from pushing too fast. Still sitting on the site.
10 seconds
They
left.
have to know now. They've got 10 seconds to get this spike down, but they've got to get past Corella first. And they do. Will he have time? No, he will not have time to get the spike down, I don't think. No. And so Sophia is the last man alive, just sitting on B, taking that round nicely. Very solid play by Corella to delay them for just long enough to keep that spike from going down. If Corella had died a second sooner or not been there for an extra second, the spike would have gone down, and that would have been a very different outcome, but a really nice play to clutch that round out.
Yeah, definitely. And while the guns are coming out hot for Juicy on the attack side here, it's just not enough. They were shut down too hard in the B site, and then in the eventual rotation to C, they were a little bit too slow, slowed even further by the heroics of Corella and Wailing Biscuit. But nevertheless, it is the defender round win, and they've chained it into a timeout here as well. Maybe trying to figure out what they want to do on the buy situation. As you can see by the credits, they are lacking. They do not have the funds to get some rifles, armor, and utility for all of their players. Maybe trying to figure out what sort of investment they make. As you can see on the attacker side, they have 4 rifles and an SMG, so coming in with a strong buy despite the round loss means that there is a lot of onus on the defenders to pop off here if they commit. They really would need to get a round win, or else their economy is in shambles. But instead, it looks like off the timeout, they are going to go for a fairly minimal investment. Looks like a bit of a half buy here in the round. We're seeing a cheeky little Bucky onto Wailing Biscuit, maybe looking to get aggressive around C with that. I like that pick. Definitely, it's a cheeky little option that I think is extremely underrated in the high levels because of how strong an automatic weapon can be at its full potential. But I think the ability to catch someone off guard and get the one hit, especially on someone as mobile as Jet, is a really strong capability.
I would have to agree. The Bucky is my personal favorite weapon in the game just because it's cheap, it's effective if you know how to use it right, and especially in a skilled player and an aggressive player like Wailing Biscuit has shown himself to be, it can be pretty devastating. Because, I mean, nobody expects to walk around a corner and just get one shot, but that's what you get. And that's a very fast, very solid execute from Team Juicy onto that A site as the defenders scramble to get there. Spike does go down. Bugs and Sophia sitting up in heaven. Bike's using that Phoenix ult to maybe try to get some pressure on. And that Cypher and Sova just getting vision, trading vision back and forth. I think
I know exactly.
Bikes may have spotted out Sophia up in the top of heaven, but with 3 of them up there, it's going to be hard. And now it's a 3v3 as Sophia and Extreme Potato clean up Juicy Sushi and Bikes. But they're going to have to move quick. And Wardell spraying down 2 members. Jekblov taking out the 3rd. They were not ready for Wardell there as he just shut down that retake and saved the round for his team.
Yeah, and so disconjointed there from both of these plugs. I mean, they're not even checking that typical corner. I mean, that is the most common crossfire ever in the A site retake. The attackers putting 1 under that window and 1 in that little pocket there. So a bit of a strange aggression there. Probably a little bit baited off of the information that someone was under window, just having that tunnel vision there, not expecting the crossfire as a result. But their half buy from last round means that they're not super hampered in this one. Wailing Biscuit having that Marshall in hand, but there is 3 rifles, there is an SMG on Bugs, so definitely not a rollover round on their behalf, but at a disadvantage nonetheless, as not Wardell sends this camera drone into the C site, trying to pick up some information as it's likely that Execute is going to come in here. Yes, they're flying into the site. Sophia No Bueno has picked up 1, but Bikes is already into the site, wrapping around on Corella. Nowhere to go means he is taken out effortlessly by not Wardell with the headshot. And now the spike is going to go down. It's a 4 versus 4. What can the defenders do? It is a rough spot that they are in. This is the ultimate from, I believe, Justin has just come out, but Bugs has picked up 1 onto Jekblov. Now, pinching into the site is the defenders. 3 versus 3. Everyone in this C-long area for the attackers. Spikes throws the flashbang out, looking to get aggressive with the sub, and is able to find 1, but immediately traded by Extreme Potato. The spike diffuser is killed by not Wardell, using that ultimate ability to snipe him off of the spike. Extreme Potato gets another. The bomb diffuse has started. It's a 2 versus 1, and Extreme Potato on the other end has closed it out. A triple kill in the round, closing on the not Wardell. The spike diffuse comes in from Bugs, fully committing there, confident in Extreme Potato to win the gunfights, and the confidence is well placed. A nice defensive round that was so essential for them to keep their economy rolling in this game.
It really was. And Extreme Potato going from bottom frag to 3rd on the team now. Very, very solid play. I'd like to see him get a little bit more confident. We haven't seen much out of him this game so far, but it seems like he may be hitting his stride now. As we can see, we're starting to even things up. Wailing Biscuit going for just maybe a pistol and armor, and otherwise looks like the attackers have a bit of a weapon advantage here, but not by too much. Corella sitting, just waiting for somebody to maybe push through those mid doors. The attackers are taking things a little bit slow. They're just going to wait. Jekblov is pushed way up with that spike, trying to get some vision on the A site. And Bugs is there all alone if they decide to roll in. And it looks like they will. The Execute is coming out, smoking off heaven, trying to get some vision on the site. And they're going to be able to execute it pretty smoothly. The attackers actually run right through the site with that Phoenix ultimate. Juicy Sushi does manage to trade out Sophia in the ensuing crossfire, but Extreme Potato pops Juicy Sushi as well right after that ultimate goes down. And that's unfortunate. Bugs taking 1 out from heaven. Corella taking Jekblov down as well. Bikes and Wardell stuck in a 2v4 now. Nice flash, but it's not quite enough. As Wardell takes out Corella, and Wailing Biscuit manages to roll into that site and clean up.
Now that is the A retake I was looking for out of both of these. I mean, last time they got caught in the crossfire, the same one that was set up here in the post plant by Juicy, but this time they've learned from their mistakes, they check their corners, and they make it happen. Great little retake for them, and stringing together 2 defensive rounds here means the attackers are onto some pretty precarious buys for themselves. You can see a couple rifles coming out, one on Jekblov, one on previously Justin, now refunded. Jekblov at this point being the only player with a full investment, that full armor and a rifle, and I would assume his utility as well since he is sitting on 500 credits. But for the rest of the team, some SMGs, some upgraded pistols, not a lot going on compared to the full rifles and operator and body armor of the defenders. Wailing Biscuit firing off a pause shot in middle but doesn't connect. Bikes securing this connector area onto the C site. Is it going to be another B execute? Juicy Sushi looks for the peak, but it's dropped by Bugs. That 1v1 not going his way as Bike's in a great lurk position. Oh, he's gonna wait, he's patient, but he eventually does kill Krella, and as a result, I think the attackers are looking for this rotation. Wailing Biscuit does pick up Jekblov, that only full investment on the attackers in this round, but Bikes and Justin do still have rifles in their hands. A great flashbang picks up one, but Bugs is trading on the other side onto Not Wardell. The spike being planted by Justin, the 2 players are in C, but 2 defenders close with 7 finally rotating through B. This is the 3 versus 2 retake, creeping into the smoke. This is a tense moment. Sophia could be an absolute thorn in the side of Juicy here. Lurking in the smoke, there's no idea what that's doing, and he is able to pick up the kill on Justin as well. Bikes is going to be kicking himself for that moment. He thought he had the 900 IQ play, but instead he is just a mouth breather, not getting anything done on the round. The poor timing not going his way.
What a lurk from Sophia. What patience from a bunch of players this round. We saw some incredible patience on those plays. Whether it was Bikes going for that spray down against Corella or right at the end there, Sophia No Bueno sitting in that smoke and just waiting for the right moment, waiting for the rest of the team to be there to collapse onto that site all at once and catch them off guard.
Yeah, and now the attacker timeout comes in. This is from Juicy, their second timeout of the game, meaning they will have no more for the match. So I like that this is coming out here because the defenders have now strung together 3 rounds and it is starting to get dicey. They are 1 away from match point, and as the attackers, you're in a tough situation. You do have a near full buy available. You can see 4 rifles fully purchased up with their armor, with utility, but there is not going to be enough for the full investment onto Jekblov. So this is a really tense situation for the attackers. It's a must-win situation. He does manage to secure himself a rifle and basic armor for Jekblov, so the attackers definitely have a fighting shot here, but still no ultimates on their side is definitely going to hurt them. You would think that with something like, for example, the Phoenix ultimate, they can make some space, create and execute onto a site and get something rolling, but without anything of the sorts, it's just such a tough situation, especially when there is the full 5 ultimate combo available for both of these.
Yeah, this is going to be rough for the attackers, but as you said, this is must win. They are in a very, very bad situation for the next round. If they don't take this one home, then all the defenders will need is 1 more round, and the economy of the attackers will be in shambles after this. So what can they do here? They're just going to play very safe, it looks like, early on. But we will see. It looks like... Oh! Unfortunately, it looks like Bugs' game may have crashed, and the defenders are calling for a pause. So, it seems like we may have to get that going. There is no way to pause mid-round, unfortunately. Production, what are we able to do about this?
Definitely a tough situation. It's looking like a pause might not be possible, so we will await word from the admins happening here.
Oh, Juicy is back. Excuse me, it was Juicy and not Bugs who disconnected, but he is back. And unfortunately, 52 seconds left in this round. That is unfortunate. You'd really, for the attackers' sake, I hope they are able to make this work because it would suck to lose that way.
Definitely, and now I think it sort of limits their options. They're going to need to go for an execute, so as a result, they're rolling on up to the A site. Only number 8 here is really available for the defense, but at least 7 there has thrown out the smoke.
Left.
That's Extreme Potato. As the attackers clip clop into the site, they're looking for the bomb plant immediately, but no, not Wardell looks for a little spray before looking for the spike, but that's the ultimate coming out from Sophia No Bueno. So the spike not able to go down at this point. Not Wardell finally looking for the plant, but here's Wailing Biscuit looking for the float onto the planter, but no, not able to to get it. Just a little
10
bit of
seconds
damage
left.
onto Not Wardell, and Corella has picked up a kill on the bikes in the meantime. Wailing Biscuit gets one, but Jack Blob and
One
Juicy are
enemy
picking up
remaining.
kills as well. Jack Blob with another. It's all of a sudden a 3 versus 1. Wailing
Eyes
Biscuit
down.
comes out on the detained enemies and able to pick up one. The operator's so tough in this post-plant situation. Fakes the defuse. Looking for something, anything, and he's got one. He's got one. Just the 1 versus 1 at this point. Him versus Juicy Sushi. This operator's so tough, but he doesn't have the timing. And Juicy Sushi, being the late joiner in the round, having the DC, the reconnect 1 versus 1 clutch. A huge moment for Juicy's team captain.
Yeah, that is going to be huge. They are still in this game, and the money from that round is going to make it a lot easier for them to stay there. I think they deserved that win after such a rough start to the round. It didn't seem like it really impacted them all that heavily, though. Thankfully, the defending team, props to both of these plugs for being sportsmanlike with that and not just running them down as soon as they heard that one player disconnected. But good for the attackers to be able to keep that momentum going, or at least get some momentum going and keep themselves off of game point.
Yeah, and the defenders do still have a bye here. 3 ultimates burn in the last round is definitely a bummer, but they do still have the 5 rifles and body armor here. Wailing Biscuit playing a close angle here and is maybe going to be ready for the triple attacker pounce here out of the C-long area. It looks like they really want to make this execute happen, but nothing happening at this point. The drone now going to come out, means Wailing Biscuit has to fall off that tight angle. Going to get spotted out eventually, and now here it comes, the full-on push. Nice escape from Wailing Sushi, just running out there, but Bike's chasing him down, hoping to get something done with the ultimate. Jack Blob has picked up one on Wailing Biscuit in the middle of the map. Now Bike's teleported back from that ultimate, and Justin has got the bomb down. A 5 versus 4 retake situation. Corella in this middle defensive side window, maybe looking to get something happening. Bugs throwing out the blind. And now the defenders creeping into the C site. Their time is not on their side, but Bikes throws out this fire grenade, means Extreme Potato now has some info on his location. Defenders creeping into sight. Bugs looking for Not Wardell, but Not Wardell picks up the headshot. Juicy Sushi spraying too. Not Wardell gets a double, but Sophia No Bueno has managed to pick up the trade. Now a 2 versus 4 situation. Jack Blob cleaning up Sophia No Bueno. Extreme Potato is on the flank, but not in a very hopeful situation as he's getting spammed out and chased out. Maybe can get some trade kills at the end. Oh, he picks up the double for free. Is he going to get caught, or does he hold the rifle? Oh, he gets a 3rd even, but Bikes does drop him before the time passes, so no rifle going into this round, but a great triple on his end means the economy is a little bit rougher for the attackers, putting that tension on their side. You can see after the full buy, they are broke. If they lose another round here, it is a tough situation, but the defenders have no money.
Yeah, this is going to be rough. Both teams, it looks like, are running on pretty low econ. We can see a full buy coming out from the attacking side, but they are going to be flat broke after this round if it doesn't work out. And the defenders going for an eco round, but we've seen that that doesn't mean much with these two teams, as pretty much every eco round has gone the other way. But Wailing Biscuit getting popped immediately by Juicy Sushi. And that's going to make this execute a lot easier wherever the attackers decide to go. Jack Blob setting up that camera, trying to get some vision on A site. Sophia is sitting at the back, ready to roll in if anything happens. And it looks like he is going to try to creep into heaven, or at least try to get some vision. Juicy lurking on C, though. Spots out Corella, and Corella's not going to be able to do too much as Extreme Potato drops Bikes, which is very nice for them, picking up that Phantom and just still sitting in heaven, waiting for the rotate. And he does manage to catch out Juicy Sushi, pick himself up a Phantom as well. Now this is interesting. 3v3, pretty even on rifles. Corella's just got the Bucky, now picked up a Spectre. Sophia does manage to drop Wardell. Justin, though, trading him out. 2v2. They're running out of time, though. The defenders need to move. And Extreme Potato's trying to stick the defuse, but it's not quite enough. As Justin picks both up and saves the round. Will he be able to get out in time to avoid getting killed? Just barely, by the skin of his teeth. Justin picks up the last 2 kills just in time to get himself out. Very, very clean clutch from him there. And the attackers even things up. This is anybody's game at this point.
11-11. You love to see it in our first map of our first semifinals match here. The Canadian Esports League's Valorant Summer Showdown. Great stuff out of both of these plugs and Juicy, our two teams competing in this match. This is the do or die round. Both teams are going to be broke if they lose this, and both teams have committed to a bye. Whaling Biscuit had the really aggressive peek there with the operator, and he's on the money in terms of them being here, but the smoke is up. Means he's not able to make anything happen. The drone coming forward, creeping up aggressively, and finds one onto Bikes. That's a great opener, but now the attackers are strolling through. The smokes go down, but it's just not enough. Check Blob throwing out those wires, throwing out those smokes. The cages, Sophia in heaven with this arrow. The shock dart is good for some damage, but not able to take down that spike planter. So now it's a 4 versus 4 retake situation. The two operators are off the map. It's all rifles from here on out. In terms of ultimates, it's 2 ults to 2 ultimates. Sophia.
Silva art. Yeah, I'm sorry. That Silva dart gonna be big as Bugs rolls in and drops Juicy Sushi underneath Heaven. And that vision is gonna be very key. They know that the rest of the players on the attacking side aren't on the site. But that ultimate from Not Wardell just holding them off the spike. Extreme Potato is gonna be able to roll up and take him out. And they're just gonna have enough time to get that defuse. Barely. The attackers almost held that. So unfortunately, Extreme Potato and Bugs were able to shut it down.
Match point.
And Extreme Potato has really come around in this match. We've seen him rocket up the scoreboard, picking up kills all over the map, and you love to see it. I'm proud of that guy.
Yeah, definitely. He's making a lot of smart plays on the map. You see him there coming in from the attacker spawn flank, picks up that kill onto, I believe it was Justin at the end. Forgive me if it was the wrong player, but just finding these flanking routes, finding himself in smart little situations to get these freebie kills is great out of him, you know, really making the most out of this pick on Omen. He has the ultimate available now, the teleport to go anywhere on the map. The attackers here with a cobbled together buy of SMGs and rifles, hoping to get something done here as Juicy Sushi lurks around middle. Whaling Biscuit with this operator has been lights out, finding picks across the map. Now looking for a peek into C long as Corella is in this defensive middle window. Looking for something, anything, and he sees Juicy Sushi cross, not taking a shot. No big deal. Gets out scot-free. This is the posture for the B site. I wonder if they go here again.
Yeah, we've only seen one solid execute onto the B site this entire game. So we will see, but it looks like they're going to creep over to A and give that another shot. It's going to be tricky, though, with those SMGs. They're going to have to play very smart with their angles, especially against Whaling Biscuit with that Jet ult and that operator. And with Bugs sitting up in heaven, it might be tricky. Well, that smoke is going to help. Bugs has to drop out. And they're just spraying all those angles, just making sure nobody's sitting there. But all 5 members of the defending team are stacked up in those halls, ready to roll in, and they are going to. Who will get the first pick? 5 members of each team still alive. Juicy Sushi spraying out. Extreme Potato, Whaling Biscuit, and Bugs taking down a couple. Wardell, though, is behind them and ready to roll. And wow, the Jet ult just misses him. Wardell gets his 3rd pick of the round. And the attackers even things up as we head into overtime. Very clean play from Wardell there to clutch that out. They knew he was under heaven, but they just weren't able to deal with him as he continually sprayed them down. And who do you think is in a better position heading into this overtime here?
Oh, it's tough to say. All I can say is I'm stoked that this is where we get to go. Map number 1 is overtime, has got me hyped up for this series. The sides have switched here again with Juicy back on the defense as we had in the very first half of this match. The full buys coming in for both sides. No operators to be seen, just having the rifles. And this is do or die at this point. Both teams are going to be starving for these rounds. On such an attacker-favored map, it's really important to make something happen on this attacker round. If you can get the win as attackers, you just put so much pressure on the defense. Despite it being fairly even back and forth so far, there is still a lot of opportunity as the attacker to pull away in this game. Even placings all across the map, the slow creep onto A. How many times have we seen plays similar to this?
Just about every round so far, we've seen this at least a little bit. And we can see Justin sitting alone on that C site, hoping that somebody comes to him, but it doesn't look like they're going to. I'm wondering when he'll start to rotate, or if the attackers will in fact fall off as they're doing now, and try to just play things slow, get some knowledge and vision of enemy players before they try to execute anything too solid. And we can see Juicy creeping up on 2 members of both of these plugs, Extreme Potato and Bugs, in those tight little corridors. Juicy is going to back out, but I think he knows they're there. 3 members now. Oh, just missed left. Corella. Does he know they're coming? Drops Corella with the spike.
Spike down.
Gonna get suppressed by that Reyna, and Wailing Biscuit with the crossfire takes him out, but that's a big pick still. Jekblov manages to drop Bugs as they push onto the site. Extreme Potato trying to get the spike down, but Wardell takes him out with a shock dart before he can get the spike planted, and they're in a rough spot now. They know where the attackers are. And not Wardell drops onto the site, takes Wailing Biscuit down, and Sophia as well. Wardell is unstoppable, and using that ultimate just to flex a little bit. I can't blame him. That was a clean round.
Oh, great stuff there out of Not Wardell. Picks up the triple and the round win as a result. And this puts so much pressure onto both of these plugs because, as we've been highlighting, attack is definitely the favored side. And with only 1 round needed on attack to win this map, Juicy is feeling themselves here. They are in the power position, but it's by no means over. How many times have we seen both of these plugs win these defensive rounds on a shoestring budget even at times? So by no means out of it. Maybe hoping for some aggressive plays at them, but in overtime situation, 1 round away from the loss, it's hard to blame them for playing conservatively. Gives a little bit of room for Juicy to maneuver on the map. The shoulders coming out from Sophia. Spot out Juicy Sushi, and the drone is here to follow up. A utility coming out as Bikes gets nibbled down, but has been stacking up. I think that's his 2nd orb now. So just 1 away from the ultimate. Maybe going to be hoping to use that as an entry onto one of these sites, or maybe going to be the spike planner to charge it up for the post-plant situation. As the attackers rotate back to C, there is only 1 player here, but 2 hovering around B means it's a quick rotation, and the early spot there means that they are no doubt going to be coming over to support. Number 8 here is the sole defender for now, blinded, falling back into the site. What can Bugs do here? He's an essential player in this situation, but Juicy Sushi has got the flank and has got the kill. What an intelligent positioning moment from him. Extreme Potato has responded onto Jekblov, once again finding cheeky little kills for himself near that middle tunnel. And this is the do or die. This is the 4 versus 4 retake, but the defenders are streaming in, and they're not winning a single gunfight. In a blink of an eye, it's Wailing Biscuit in the 1 versus 3. The flashes are coming through. The flashes never end. Wailing Biscuit spraying all over, at least able to take out the Phoenix ultimate clone. But at this point, it's not looking likely. Wardell throwing in those darts like nothing. Bikes getting dropped, but the 2nd man, Juicy Sushi, with the triple on the round, secures the overtime victory. What a game number 1. Juicy come out victorious.
You could not ask for a closer, more even game 1 to start a series. Wow. What a pair of teams. I am excited for game 2. I really want to see how this will shake out as we continue.
Absolutely. Some players to highlight from the scoreboard. Not Wardell with a standout performance, 28, 15, and 11 on that Sova. We saw so many clutch moments from him on that A site. The overtime defense from that A window was so intensely well played from him. Great plays all around the map. On the other side, the top performer is Bugs with that 21, 18, and 8. So not too bad for himself, but really, as you mentioned, fairly even performances across all players in this game.